Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, I'm Kira. I have both my sons in here. Oh, sorry, I just saw something that was not supposed to be happening. Anyways, I am doing my June and July orders already. I have gotten most of my Sephora done. I'm doing my Sephora order a little in advance for next month because I have a coupon for 15% off, and you cannot say no to 15% off at Sephora. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to get. And I did get a Sims 4 kit. I got the little campers kit last night I bought it. It looked really, really cool when I was seeing other YouTubers review it, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit more on my gaming channel. But anyways, this is not about gaming. This is about makeup, and we are going to be doing a makeup and mystery, and we are going to be talking about the man who killed Halloween. So the man that killed Halloween was a man named Ronald Clark O'Brien. So he didn't actually kill Halloween. I think that's just his nickname, and we'll get into it. But he did drastically change it for, still to this day, he drastically changed Halloween. So a little background on Ronald O'Brien is they lived in Texas with their son Timothy and daughter Elizabeth. He worked as an obstetrician, and he was a deacon at the Second Baptist Church where he sang in the choir and ran a local bus program. So, I mean, just seemed like an all-around nice guy, good guy, normal. So on the night in question, Ronald O'Brien was trick-or-treating with his two kids and a neighbor, as well as some neighborhood kids, because that's what they did. And it had actually started raining, so they were going to turn in a little bit early. They were going to call it a night, and one of the last stops that they decided to come to was going to be this one house that looked extremely dark, which typically apparently meant back then, not home or no candy. So apparently the kids had grown impatient with waiting for this person at this house that was dark, and it was said that nobody was there, so they went ahead and was trick-or-treating at other houses before they had to go home. But it said that Ronald actually stayed behind, and according to Ronald, the door opened and only enough for a hand, and it gave him 5 pixie sticks, which was enough for, I think, 1 for each kid. So, he took them, and then he met up with the rest of the group, and gave the kids the pixie sticks. And they continued on with their night of trick-or-treating. So apparently Timothy, before bed, after they got done trick-or-treating, wanted to eat some of his candy he collected, kid stuff. And he had chosen the pixie stick. And what really catches me as weird is the pixie stick was stapled shut. Now, wouldn't that to you, even if this case hadn't happened, as a parent, just kind of set off red flags a little bit? So Timothy was actually having trouble opening it because of it being stapled shut. So he had to get his dad to open it. So his dad opens it, and according to what we know, it says that Timothy had said after tasting the candy, he said that it tasted bitter. And then O'Brien gave his son Kool-Aid to wash away the taste, and Timothy immediately began to complain about his stomach hurt and ran to the bathroom and began to vomit. So Ronald said that he held his son while his son was vomiting, and they obviously grew concerned and took him to the hospital. But unfortunately, Timothy died within an hour. So Timothy's autopsy revealed that the pixie stick had been laced with a fatal dose of potassium cyanide, which we covered the Jonestown case, Jim Jones and Jonestown. Cyanide plays a big part in that mass suicide. If you're curious about that, then check that video out. It's a previous episode. But then Ronald had said that he had given the other 4 pixie sticks to other children, including his daughter. So the police now had 3 kids to track down. So the police So the police were able to track down all 5 candies, including, well, actually technically 4 because Elizabeth had one, which is Timothy's sister and Ronald's daughter. She had one, and so they only had, well, actually technically 3 to track down, which was with his neighbor who went with him's 2 kids, and then there was a kid from his church that he gave the last one to. Now that's a story. So after being contacted by the police, the parents of the first child were hysterical when they couldn't find the candy. They rushed upstairs to find their son asleep, holding the candy unconsumed, so their son was unharmed. He had been unable to get it open due to the staples that were stapling it shut. He was unable to get that open, so he didn't eat it. He just fell asleep trying. So all of the pixie sticks contained cyanide, and it was determined by a pathologist that the pixie stick that Timothy ate contained enough cyanide to kill 2 adults, while the other 4 candies contained enough to kill 3 to 4 adults. So Ronald was telling police that he couldn't remember where he had gotten the candy from, which, remember what I said? It had actually started raining, so they actually called their night in early, their trick-or-treating night in early. So they didn't actually end up going to that many houses. So it was weird to police that he didn't remember the house where he got the strange candy from. So police just decided to go ahead and just test pretty much every house. So they went to every house that Ronald took his kids to and his neighbor took their kids to. And none of them had actually been giving out pixie sticks, which that's what had the candy in it, was the pixie sticks. So after finding out that none of the houses were giving out the pixie sticks, this is when Ronald finally decided to tell police about the strange house. I think that when police heard this story about the pixie sticks in this strange house, they were skeptical, because what kind of parent just, like, in that odd of a situation, even if nothing like this had ever happened before, in that odd of a situation just says, okay, yep, let me give this candy out to my children. I don't think any parent would even have stuck behind, let alone gotten the candy and given it to the kids. Eventually they were able to track down this house, and they were able to track down the owner of this house, and they actually found out that the owner of this house had actually been working the night of Halloween, which was why the lights were off. So, due to all of this is when police actually decided to start looking at Ronald in a suspect kind of way. As police continued their investigation, they learned that Ronald O'Brien was over $100,000 in debt. And he had like 21 jobs. He was really unable to keep a job. I know a couple men like that. So at the time of his arrest, he was actually suspected for theft at his job. So, I mean, really just all around not a good guy. Apparently, like, I think their family home was about to be foreclosed on. Like, he was honestly under a lot of stress, but that doesn't really excuse what he did either. But he was under a lot of stress financially, and on the Wikipedia page, which is what I was reading some stuff off of, it said that the motive was financial gain. So it says here that he had taken out a $10,000 life insurance policies on both of his children, which, remember, all 5 of the pixie sticks were laced with cyanide, but he had only given 1 to Timothy and 1 to his daughter Elizabeth, and he had given the other 3 to other children, which don't understand that, but I guess he was doing it to keep suspicion off of himself, maybe? So it says that he had taken out additional $20,000 policies on both children despite the objections of his life insurance agency. And in the days preceding Timothy's death, he had taken out yet another $20,000 policy on each child. And the various policies totaled approximately $60,000. So he's set to gain $60,000 if both of his kids passed away from the cyanide candy. I did use the Camel palette from Natasha Denona to create this look today, if you guys are curious. 100% worth the money. Get it now, it's $48. I paid $50 for it, but don't feel bad for me, it's great for your wallet. So, Ronald's wife maintains that she did not know about the insurance policies on her children's lives, and police also learned that the morning after Timothy's death, Ronald had called his life insurance company to inquire about collecting the policies he had taken out on his son. Which, I mean, the morning after, like, body's not even cold yet. Of course, like, we can't really say anything about when is an appropriate time to take the money out of a life insurance policy on somebody who passes away. But when it's a child, that wouldn't like be on my mind to collect on like Kyer Jackson's life insurance policy if they just passed away the night before. I would probably be crying in their rooms, let's just be honest. So the police were contacted by a local chemical supply store in Houston and said that Ronald had tried to buy cyanide shortly before the Halloween, but he left without purchasing anything after learning the smallest amount available to purchase was 5 pounds, and police began to suspect he had laced the candies with poison in an effort to kill his children to collect on their life insurance policies to help get him out of debt. Which, I mean, I want to know where he had gotten the cyanide, because he tried to obtain it from that store, and the store, you know, they have limits on what they sell because of this. Maybe not this case per se, but definitely the Jim Jones case. You know, it's pretty easy to kill people with cyanide. So the government wants to limit that as much as they possibly can. And you have to go through a pretty, like, they write you down and stuff like that if you purchase the cyanide. So that way, if somebody close to you dies, they have the evidence to state that you purchased this cyanide. So, the police believe that he had given the other children the poison candy in an effort to cover up his crime, which, I mean, obviously. And it says on the Wikipedia page that he was questioned multiple times, and he has maintained his innocence. Although police were never able to discover when or where Ronald had bought the poison, he was arrested for Timothy's murder on November 5th, 1974, which was a few days after his death. So police really got to cracking on this case. Which I'm glad about, because so many times we see the cases with police where they just really drop the ball. So I'm really glad to see that this case, the police didn't, and they were able to serve justice for this little boy. So, Ronald was indicted on 1 count of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder, and he entered a plea of not guilty to all 5 counts, but he was found guilty. I mean, there was just too much evidence against him, and there were people coming forward that testified at the trial and stated that he showed an interest in cyanide. So it only took a jury 46 minutes to find him guilty of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. So the jury was pretty convinced that he was guilty. I mean, think about, you know, very recently, the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. It took a couple of days for them to determine who defamed who, which, hell yeah, Johnny Depp won. Yes, I have been saying from day one, Amber Heard is not a domestic violence victim. How dare you put yourself in the same line as people like me who have survived domestic violence and I know what that's like, and I know what it feels like and what people who are domestic violence victims, survivors, act like, and you do not act like one. I strongly believe that Amber Heard just wanted to be a domestic violence victim for show. And you cannot pick and choose when you are a victim and when you're not. So he was set for execution. He was set by death by lethal injection. There were multiple stages of execution. I'm not going to get into all of them. But there were he was set to death by lethal injection, and he had multiple stages of execution because I guess like he continued to maintain his innocence, so they wanted to give him a chance to appeal, but he never was able to get out of it, I guess. On March 31st, 1984, he was executed by lethal injection, and he is said to have said, "What is about to transpire in a few minutes is wrong. However, we as human beings do make mistakes and errors. This execution is one of those wrongs, yet doesn't mean our whole system of justice is wrong. Therefore, I would forgive all who have taken part in any way in my death. Also, to anyone I have offended in any way during my 39 years, I pray and ask for forgiveness. Just as I forgive anyone who offended me in any way. And I pray and ask God's forgiveness for all of us respectfully as human beings. To my loved ones, I extended my undying love. To those close to me, know in your hearts I love you all, one and all. God bless you all, and may God's best blessings be always yours. Ronald O.C. Bryan, P.S. During my time here, I have been treated well by all TDC personnel. And apparently someone yelled, trick or treat, when he was being executed. So, irony. His wife did divorce him and she got remarried, and her daughter Elizabeth was adopted by her new husband, so she has nothing to do with him either. Moral of the short story should really be don't kill your kids, yo. I mean, we brought them into this world and they did not ask to be here. No, you didn't. I would kill anybody who came at my kids. I would freaking kill you. I don't care. Like, I'm protecting my babies. I'm protecting both my kids. Like, nobody means more to me than them. But anyways, that is the case of the man who killed Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had to lay Buddy Boy down for a nappy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to end it here. See you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys. Say bye-bye, guys.